President Trump has admitted the first 100 days in office have proven to be more difficult than he thought it would be. His immigration order has been held up by the courts. Republicans in Congress failed to come together on a replacement for Obamacare. But if you ask the president himself, the first 100 days have been a success. To celebrate the milestone, he greeted thousands at a rally in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania last night. He reminded the crowd about his upset victory in November and listed off his accomplishments, including getting Judge Neil Gorsuch approved for the Supreme Court, approving the Keystone XL and Dakota Access pipelines, and killing an Asian trade pact. The president used much of his speech, though, to attack the national media, many of which were in Washington for the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
I think we would all agree the media deserves a very, very big, fat failing grade.
It's the first time a president has skipped out on the dinner since Ronald Reagan back in '81. In Washington, some members of the media responded to the onslaught of finger-pointing and name-calling, including Jeff Mason, president of the White House Correspondents Association.
We are not fake news, and we are not the enemy of the American people.
A poll from Gallup says President Trump's approval rating sits at 42%. That's the lowest of any president ever polled after 100 days. After several incidents rocked the airline industry this past month, Congress has decided to have a hearing on Tuesday to examine airline customer service. The House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee will be looking at customer service policies and deciding what can be done to improve air travel experiences for Americans. United Airlines CEO Oscar Munoz will be there to testify. He'll be joined by executives from American and Southwest Airlines.
25 years ago this weekend, a jury in California delivered a verdict that threw the city of Los Angeles into chaos. 4 police officers were acquitted in state court after the beating of Rodney King. LA residents marched in remembrance of one of the deadliest race riots in American history Saturday. The riots lasted 6 days and killed more than 50 people. Organizers say the purpose of this weekend's rally was to remind everybody about the damage, to remind them that some areas have never recovered. They also hope to show the community what's possible for the future. Hundreds of U.S. troops and armored vehicles were deployed in northern Syria yesterday along the Turkish border. That's just a few days after a Turkish airstrike killed more than 20 Kurdish fighters backed by the United States. Those fighters were members of a People's Protection Unit known as YPG. They work with the U.S. in the fight against ISIS. Both Russia and the U.S. criticized the Turkish strike, but the government there sees the group as terrorists. The battle against ISIS in Mosul is continuing. Heavy smoke was visible over western neighborhoods in the city today. Mosul is important. It's the last significant urban territory that ISIS holds in Iraq. The Pentagon says a U.S. service member was killed outside of the city yesterday by an explosive device. That's the second American military death since the operation to take the city started more than 6 months ago.
A Colorado business is taking some of the gear U.S. soldiers use in the field and giving it a new civilian life. Reporter Jordan Chavez has more on how Sword and Plow is repurposing with a purpose. Jordan.
All right, I had the opportunity to sit down with the co-founders of this unique business this afternoon, and they tell me a big purpose behind what they do is to strengthen understanding between civilians and the military community. They believe fashion is the key to doing just that.
For example, this is our mini blue zippered tote.
Sword and Plow specializes in accessories.
I'd say this is definitely one of my favorite products.
But these aren't just your typical handbags.
This is repurposed BDU fabric from Army uniforms.
Everything is made from materials recycled from the military.
Let's see.
An idea Emily got when she was in college.
And I thought, how awesome would it be to take military surplus fabrics that are so durable and turn them into bags and accessories that anyone could use in their daily life.
So with the help of her sister Betsy,
I love working with my sister.
She did.
Luckily, we get along really well.
The two are no strangers to the military.
That was right.
Their dad served in the Army for more than 30 years.
I served at Fort Carson down in Colorado Springs,
which inspired Emily.
I served in an engineer unit, deployed to Afghanistan, then served in a special forces unit for 3 years.
And now she's looking to weave the two worlds together.
Our whole mission is to strengthen civil military understanding.
Together, the sisters have helped 65 veterans.
Yeah, that's a great photo.
Using their skills to help make their products.
Veterans are such empowering assets to civilian communities, and so that's a big message that we have here at Sword and Plow.
And now they've given 35,000 pounds of military surplus.
And this is made out of a repurposed 50 caliber shell casing.
New life, just like the veterans they help.
Sword and Plow is my way of giving back to the military and veteran community that raised us.
And Sword and Plow was recently named the grand prize winner of the FedEx Small Business Grant Contest. The company will get a $25,000 grant plus $7,500 in print and business services to help them grow their business. Jordan Chavez, 9 News.
All right, Jordan, thank you. Police in South Korea had to push back protesters today. They're trying to stop U.S. Army trucks from entering the site where the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, also called THAAD, is being installed. It's an anti-missile system that some Korean people feel is being rushed to be completed before the likely win of a presidential candidate who opposes it. 300 villagers were met by about 800 police. It all started when the protesters blocked the road with a car. The Army trucks were forced to return to a nearby U.S. military base.
Hundreds of people in Venezuela gathered for a vigil honoring those killed in fights between security forces and anti-government protesters. So far, 28 people have been killed and hundreds injured in protests calling for the government to hold delayed elections and release prisoners. More than 1,300 people have been arrested in city streets there in the past 4 weeks. Pope Francis is back at the Vatican today after a 2-day trip to Egypt. This was the first time a pope had set foot in Egypt in 17 years. His visit followed several deadly attacks on Christian churches there. The pope comforted the community before urging Muslim leaders to give up religious fanaticism that leads to violence. Families all across the country are turning to talking home assistants like Amazon's Alexa for help with everyday chores and homework questions. But what happens when Alexa becomes part of the family? NBC's Jolene Kent shows us.
Alexa, what's 24 plus 73?
97.
Oh, I knew that.
7-year-old Ben Morgan loves talking to Alexa, the voice-activated digital assistant housed in the speaker called Amazon Echo.
Alexa, do you have a brain?
I don't have a brain like you do. My smarts live in the cloud. It or she can do thousands of tasks, from turning on the lights to buying groceries to giving the forecast. It's 58 degrees with cloudy skies.
Alexa, what's 14 times 38?
532. Liz Phillips' children ask Alexa for help on homework.
I think it's the one piece of technology that we actually refer to it as a person.
Kids today live in a world full of robots. Here, Raina gives a broken water heater some love.
I love you, robot.
According to studies on artificial intelligence conducted at the University of Washington, children often develop feelings towards automated machines.
It hurts my feelings that you would want to put me in the closet.
The concern is what happens when we start forming relationships with these objects and treating them as if they're not objects.
Robot Ed.
Amazon said in a statement that Echo is designed for families to use together. You are thinking of Brad Pitt. Thanks for playing.
Always does that.
The Morgans say Alexa is almost part of the family.
When we bought it, I think it was baseball season, and at one point Ben asked, "Do we have to buy Alexa a ticket to the baseball game?"
What's your favorite color?
I don't know, but I'm always learning.
How would you feel if Alexa wasn't around anymore?
I would say, can someone please invent Alexa back? Because it's just not life without her.
That's nice of you to say. A new voice that speaks louder than words. Jolene Kent, NBC News, Rochester, New York.
Parents, be warned, home assistants like Alexa do present the chance for your children to start ordering things offline. A couple in Dallas, for example, racked up a $160 bill when their 6-year-old bought 4 pounds of cookies. Those are expensive cookies.
And the question is now that we've run the story, how many people watching our broadcast just had something ordered? Did you just order cookies on someone's Alexa?
I sure hope I didn't, but if I did, my apologies. And you can bring them right over to us to offload them.
We'll eat them and maybe pay for them too. We'll see. A new survey finds that one age group is more likely to fall for those pesky scam calls.
But it's probably not the age group that you're thinking of. Coming up, we'll tell you who the prime targets are and why they're falling so hard for these scams.
Grace's 5K race. It is happening next Sunday, May 7th. I am usually there. I love emceeing this. It is such a fun event to be a part of. Now, Grace was diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2010. Throughout that following year, she went through chemotherapy treatments, and thankfully the therapies worked. She's now cancer-free. So I know, absolutely. Grace says that she's incredibly grateful to the Morgan Adams Foundation, which is a local nonprofit that raises money for pediatric cancer research. She says that this race is just a way for her to raise money money to give back so other kids with cancer get a second chance at life like she did. Again, it is next Sunday. It is so much fun. Last year we had great weather, and this year we should have fantastic weather too. Race starts at 9 a.m. at Willow Spring Open Space in Centennial. I will be there. We're going to be posting information on 9news.com as how you can register for the race, and I'll post that on my Facebook page as well.
So nice to hear Grace is doing well. That big smile on her face.
And this year is her 5th race that she's organized. Wow. So far, she's raised $175,000 toward pediatric cancer research for the Morgan Adams Foundation. So she is just doing wonders.
Yeah, good for you, Grace. Thanks for all you do. Thanks, Danielle. We appreciate it. Scam calls are now on the rise, and new studies show that scammers are finding more successes with a particular age group, and it's not your grandparents. A survey from Truecaller says millennials are 6 times more likely to give away their credit card information to scammers. Men were also 2 times as likely to fall for scams than women. Truecaller says adding your name to do not call lists and downloading a caller ID and spam blocker app will help prevent some of those scam calls.
They're victims twice. That's what a lot of you thought about families who can't find out where the person who killed their loved one is serving time. This report, along with a brief interview with Congressman Ken Buck, got plenty of attention this week. Here's Kim Christensen with our 9 Listens report.
Dozens of killers, rapists, and gang members move in and out of the secret prisoner exchange program called the Interstate Corrections Compact, a trading program for some of the state's worst inmates.
Hundreds of you reacted to a 9 months to know report with the families of many Colorado crime victims. They want to know where the killers of their loved ones are imprisoned, and the state won't tell them. Comments? What a slap in the face to victims' families. They have every right to know where this scum is and know of release dates, etc. Has the scum already been released, relocated? What? Is that the secret? Also, this is wrong on all levels. To not know where they are is again putting the victim in a private prison. Sentences are overturned, charges dismissed, and escapes happen. I, as a victim, have the right not to be victimized again by the system.
What you did was really unfair. How was it unfair? Because what you said was that the president tweeted something that made me change my opinion.
Political reporter Brandon Ritterman traveled to Washington, D.C. to catch up with Congressman Ken Buck. He has refused to explain his changing positions on the bill that was supposed to replace the Affordable Care Act. Comments? Thank you for keeping Buck accountable. They get to D.C. and forget who they left back at home. Also, amazing. We pay these people. Amazing. They actually work for us. The GOP always talks about how they want to run the country like a business. Well, employees need to answer their bosses.
The memories are always difficult, but I also think about it as an obligation to talk about it. 1st of September, 1939.
Finally, so many of you were moved by the story of a man from Boulder. He's 87 years old and survived a half-dozen concentration camps. He lost both of his parents during the Holocaust. 2 comments: I love him. Powerful message. Also, so sad he had to experience this and then live with the memories the rest of his life. How haunting. Thanks for your comments, and remember 9 Listens.
We love hearing your thoughts here at 9 News. You can leave us comments at KUSA@9news.com. You can also send us a message through Facebook. As always, we look forward to hearing from you each and every week. The Broncos made some exciting moves in the NFL draft this weekend.
Our sports guy Rod Mackey has a round-by-round recap of everything that went down in Philadelphia.
A humane society in Edmonton, Canada, has given some puppies the chance to dive right in to a big old birthday cake right at puppy level. The Humane Society was celebrating its 110th birthday yesterday. The cake, of course, dog friendly, and the best part of all of those puppies were adopted to new homes before the day was over. You can't resist puppies and cake.
Yeah, they're overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. Good stuff.
Love it. All right, you guys. Storm system, very, very weak, coming into the mountains as we speak. You can see one of our cameras looking out to the west. There it comes. This is a view from Nederland. And then I'll take you up there to the Loveland ski area where the snow's still flying this evening. I'd anticipate an inch or 2. Again, the system very weak, and it should wind down overnight. Overlooking Greeley, some blue skies. It looks so good. All that snow melting tomorrow once again. again, we're back to the 60s, 60s for the next couple of days, and then 80s with sunshine next weekend.
Thanks, Danielle. Thank you for watching. We're back at 9 and 10.